Welcome, age of vintage society. Back in the heyday, I had a mentor who regularly used the phrase, "You never know with men." Maybe I should say Hollywood men. My young inquisitive mind did not understand until I started listening and hearing stories about people I admired so much and the things they did. Hollywood is a place we hear fantastic stories, and one personality whose name is in the news for incredible reasons is Burt Lancaster. With 5 kids and 3 conventional marriages, it's almost impossible to believe what are already facts about his sexuality. Why Burt Lancaster hired homosexual employees. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Burt Lancaster was a very fine actor and handsome gentleman. He was one of the Prince Charming that Hollywood had continued to produce, with his rock crystal blue eyes and those keep-fit configured well-built body. You can't but agree with those that placed him among the much-sought celeb heartthrobs by women. But the stories that emerged after his demise might not be what millions of fans, especially the ladies, might want to hear. Did they say he was a homosexual, or was it just another rumour? Back in his golden days as a choice performer, Burt Lancaster was seen as a genuine observer. This talented Hollywood sensation, best known for his outing in From Here to Eternity and several Western series, is sure a performer with a difference. He was duly recognised for his creative exploit throughout what is considered now a legendary career. With the prestigious Oscar at some point, he was a force to reckon with in the industry. We hear that for almost 30 years the FBI kept a tap on him for some reasons, including but not limited to his alleged romance with men that was linked to homosexual behaviour. Your guess is as good as mine at this time, because I would have thought otherwise if the information in the public domain had not come from trusted sources. Burt Lancaster is a father of 5 kids, but 6 years after his demise an alleged sexuality complication about him was exposed, despite marrying 3 beautiful women. If the FBI documents insisted he was bisexual, the reason he was under investigation, who are we to question the authorities? That information only reminds me of the saying that it is not all that glitters is gold. Of course, this is not an indictment of a man I love so much for his lively talent and stylish approach to issues. Burt Lancaster, like everyone else, deserves a right to preferences, only that it seemed an eyesore in the industry and the period he served. Recall that Burt Lancaster, as a Golden Age prominent actor, starred in many classic films, though his beginning was unique because his career in Hollywood was delayed until he was 33, and before this time Lancaster was very active doing his stint as a circus acrobat and a USO performer in the military. Coming into the industry at such an age with all his experience, Burt wanted things done his way, and he seemingly achieved it. But the freedom he enjoyed in his private life is the reason the media is awash recently with tales about his past. Recall that at some point in his Hollywood career Lancaster founded his movie production business, so that he could comfortably control everything about the production, and secretly he was also enjoying freedom. Some say he experimented with his employees and related partners from both genders, meaning that he touched romantically with men and women while he trended. All these may just be what a historian described as his $1,000,000 secret. I would agree with those who made an initial suspicion about Burt Lancaster after he created reactions in Hollywood, surfing with Deborah Kerr in From Here to Eternity. Fans say his body was as tight and tugged as the undies of a model, but a lot of people turned a blind eye to that because, in the 1950s, nobody talked about that. It is despicable for men to be found wanting in that area. As we say in the law court, he remained innocent until proven guilty, but unfortunately he kept a clean slate about his privacy because he never said anything about himself to the public. Amidst rumours of him frolicking at dishonest parties and associating with questionable characters. Very recently several sources have continued to discuss on issues concerning Burt Lancaster and his private life. Some of these stories may not be true, since they're all coming after his demise in 1994, but the things said about this celeb are based on the available facts. I've also come to a deductive conclusion that Burt may have furtively lived a double life after turning 2 against 2, about all I have learned of his great personality. Some years back I read something about him being a lover of sexual intercourse. It got me cracking because I had to imagine if there is any man that did not love that. Maybe I did not understand the context. A poor fellow like me, what do I know? Whether Lancaster was a homo or bisexual is no longer an issue. What most of us are still digging deep to ascertain is the extent to which he was exploited while he was alive. Late Kate Buford's opinion, as available in a biography, is just one of the many expositions that showed Burt as one who pressed the bisexual button. He was an emotionally faithful but inattentive husband and father. Instead, was committed to political activism, a complex man driven by a passion to advance, enrich, and expand his mind and character with fresh but risky experiences, till the cold hands of death came knocking. His affairs with several women add together to make a sophisticated personality. Is it true also that he exhibited the kind of larger-than-life persona that we saw in the life of legendary Marlene Dietrich and Cary Grant to mention? Burton's Stephen Lancaster, the man everyone knew as Burt Lancaster, was born in 1913 in Manhattan to a working-class family of Elizabeth and James Lancaster, Irish emigrants traced to the province of Ulster. He became famous as an American actor and producer. After playing initially tough guy roles with a tender heart, Burt went on to create more success for himself with more challenging roles, with his extended career of over 45 years, from movies and later in television. I learned that the American Film Institute placed him number 19 among the greatest male stars of classic Hollywood. That was how exotic his career was. Growing up in East Harlem, young Lancaster spent much of his moment on the street, where he meddled with physical exercises and excellently honed his skills. Shortly after he graduated from DeWitt Clinton High School, where he was prominent as a basketball player, his mother died. But his athletic talent earned him a scholarship at New York University, but he unfortunately could not complete his studies. Lancaster's special interest in gymnastics may have been his early career dream, until an unfortunate injury made it a nightmare for him, but it did not end his ambition for high-risk jobs and an energetic lifestyle. As the call for service beckoned during World War II, it's only natural that the likes of Lancaster would answer, as he spent a few years with the military before he ventured into acting through the United Service Organization. Appearing first in a 1946 movie titled The Killers, everyone saw a man ready to blaze the trail in the movie world because a star was born. From one film to another, Lancaster continued thrilling fans and movie lovers with not just his male attraction, but his excellent performances. His marital life was not much of a tale, though he was already a divorcee when he started acting. His first marriage to June Ernst in 1935 ended before he made his film debut. But soon after his movie career began, he met Norma Anderson. The two fell in love, and the union cemented in matrimony at Yuma, Arizona. Everything appeared blissful. At least so it seemed for the 22 years he spent with his second wife in a union that produced 5 children. But the reality is that all the time through those years Burt was said to have indulged in several casual partners, and sources said it did not matter to him whether they were female or male. He just and always wanted to ease his passion the way he deems fit. Naturally, as his fame rose in the industry, his sexual escape showed that he was not ready to keep any of his marital vows to his wife. Very patient Norma was said to have taken solace in wine bottles and drank excessively, while the man she married was exploring the entertainment scene, body and soul. Though rumours supposedly circulated about his affair with several actresses even while legally married, others linked him with the homosexual lifestyle, prompting gossip media to create the bisexual theory about him. Perhaps it never bothered him, rather Lancaster was busier with politics and career. He was very outspoken about his liberal political philosophies, and notably for his views on things that even angered the state. He did not just speak against blacklisting and witch-hunting syndrome. His radical views placed him on the watch list of the House Un-American Activities Committee in the 1940s, and thoroughly investigated by the US government for possible communist inclination. The information available showed that Burt and Norma went their separate ways in January 1967, when she alleged that he left the family home and informed her that he would never return. So he walked out of his marriage. The duo was officially divorced in 1969. Some sources said he reluctantly married Norma. Why? It was said that while Lancaster was filming The Killers, he received the troubling news that his girlfriend Norma stood pregnant. Without blinking an eyelid, Burt was said to have come up with a plan to terminate the pregnancy, but that did not go down well with Norma, who thought it unwise to do so. More so with her religious ideology that was against that. That was why the duo ended in marriage. Well, Lancaster made a final shot at matrimonial life with Susan Martin, whom he had a relationship with for about 8 years before accepting the marital vow in 1990, even though he was in his mid-70s at the time. That union ended about 4 years later when Lancaster suddenly passed away to the world beyond at his Los Angeles home less than a month before he would celebrate his 81st birthday. He was reported to have experienced a third heart attack and ended it all thereafter. It does appear his later life was bedevilled with lots of difficulties, from health to social challenges, including being probed by the nosy eyes of the FBI. Around the 1950s, J. Edgar Hoover, the then director of the FBI, described Lancaster as a threat to state security because of his inclinations and placed him on surveillance and closely investigated. Some of the findings during the period of scrutiny was his alleged friendship with fellow movie star and notorious Rock Hudson, which it said facilitated an unconventional and regrettable lifestyle in Hollywood. Lancaster was obviously fingered because of his need to satisfy the bodily desire and supposedly presence at forbidden places and parties. A certain report even suggested that he was caught red-handed in a dishonourable venue known for its illicit reputation. Writing about Lancaster, Kate Buford noted that though he never said yes or no about his bisexuality, he might have thought that opening up would make him less of a human in line with society's belief at the time, but that he obviously had several homosexual pals. Lancaster's friendship with Hudson in particular put his reputation in the mud, because the fellow did virtually nothing to hide and was said to have frequently visited famous Los Angeles homosexual joints. The man Hudson later contracted AIDS and publicly announced it, and to make the rumours even stronger about Lancaster, he was among the several celebrities that raised funds for Hudson during a fundraiser before his demise. The event saw Lancaster reading a letter from Hudson in which he narrated how he was not pleased about the sickness, but that if his misfortune would help others then it is a good thing, and a month later Hudson died. The project was said to have gathered over $1 million for helping the victims of AIDS and related projects in Los Angeles. Sometime in 1989, Lancaster went down with a stroke and spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair. At some point had to struggle to communicate. So sad he had to go through such a tragic moment after thrilling his audience with amazing moments in movies. There was indeed powerful evidence to suggest that Burt was bisexual because he had a preference for hiring personal secretaries that are said to be homosexuals. And some of his activities also tended towards that. After playing the role of an isolated professor who accepts his fate in latent homosexuality in a 1974 movie, The Conversation Piece, Lancaster continued to raise dust about his persona, not with his acrobatic body build that he constantly trained to look both sexy and cute. Even though some Hollywood insiders and close associates may have known about this aspect of his secret life, but kept sealed lips about it, I'm not sure he did say so, but reports suggest that Lancaster hinted that the men he hired for administrative duties were because they are the best. Did you also hear that Lancaster was once seen in a pose like a model without his clothes on for men's magazines? You can take away the fact that he was the ladies' man notwithstanding, though some persons would say he may not be a homosexual, perhaps identified with such because he refused to condemn it and went ahead to build rapport with known unconventional men. However, testimonies from even his wives point to the fact that the actor enjoyed romances with both sexes. Away from his romances, one outstanding quality about Lancaster is how he came to Hollywood completely unknown, and within a short period of 5 years decided he wanted to run his movie production company rather than just being an actor. Before the system ascertained what he really meant, Lancaster had already begun operation with his movies while also acting. Critics described the move as an incredibly brave attempt, and somehow his confidence paid off. Burt Lancaster's rep in Hollywood always raises questions, but there have been even harsher characters as well. Why was Ricky Nelson a passive-aggressive rebel? This video is for you.